Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle expressed surprise and dismay over a new directive by Governor Susana Martinez to the Legislative Finance Committee and the Legislative Education Study Committee. These are watchdog committees typically getting their information directly from state agencies as part of their oversight functions. But now, Governor Martinez says all requests for information must be vetted by her Chief of Staff, Keith Gardner. Democratic and Republican lawmakers raised concerns about possible impacts on transparency because they say this could create a bottleneck in the flow of information. Richard, the administration says it will continue to provide information according to state law, but funneling all this through one person just feels like, in my gut, a setup for delays. How does it hit you in your gut? And if that's the worst of it, maybe that's good. But what else problems could come from
I agree with you. I
system?
mean, the law is that the legislature gets information from agencies by going directly. That's the way it's always been and so forth. This is an election year attempt to control things, I think, by the governor, basically.
What is she trying to avoid, in your view?
What is she trying to avoid? I'm not sure that I really know. I think it's just an effort to control things during an election year, so bad news doesn't come out that she doesn't know about and so forth.
By doing it through a chief of staff, Laura, I mean, that's like the most politicized position in the building. It's amazing. I mean, this is what the chief of staff does. They manage all the legislators and legislative things. Is that the best way to go through the chief of staff, or is there an alternative? In fact, this is a good idea for the governor.
I think this is a really bad idea, and I think this is going to come back and bite them in the election year, let's say, because you know, it's an attempt to try to essentially control what the agencies are giving out. You know, it's not the first time that they've tried to do this. They tried to control what kind of IPRA requests were getting made and having them go through the fourth floor rather than having the agencies themselves decide this. And I'm not sure that worked out very well for them. I think that this makes it look like she's hiding something, whether that's the intent or not. It makes it look like there's something, you know, that they're trying to hide. And that's not what she ran on. She ran on transparency. That's not what they've been purporting to do as far as running the government. And frankly, I think that the chief of staff has plenty of work to do to just run that office and run the state government, run her business and do everything without having to now control the flow of information for the LFC and others at the legislature. I just think it's a further way of keeping the legislature from having information.
Interestingly, I've become a fan of the show Scandal. It felt like something out of the show Scandal when I read this. It was amazing. And I'll tell you why I said that, Diane.
It felt to me like House of Cards.
House of Cards? All right, there you go.
Yeah.
I'll take that one too. I'm just really kind of surprised the governor called David Abbey directly and told him that this was happening. I'm really kind of surprised by that.
I don't think so. I think that was a courtesy. He probably is the most powerful controller, non-elected.
He's going to love that you said that.
Well, I've known Dave a long time, Dave. Don't get carried away. But I have to tell you, I think this is a mountain out of a molehill. There are still 3 branches of government. The legislature has no ironclad cast in stone right to information except through IPRA. The governor has said we are going to
Hold the
comply.
purse strings, though.
Well, I know, but you know what? Go ahead and fight on that level. We've seen how that worked in the past. Ask Bill Richardson about how some of his budgets, where they went. The thing about it is, the governor uses the tools that she has. She has every right to know. And a cabinet secretary reports to the governor, not to the legislature.
Senator, wouldn't you have been appalled if Governor Richardson had said this, that you now had to go through Brian Condit to
We
get
had to go
any
through Brian
information?
Condit for everything anyway.
But not for information
Oh, yeah,
like this.
trust me. We had to go. If Brian didn't know about it, it didn't get done. Trust me. She's just being honest about it. So, yeah, you talk about transparency. At least she's being transparent about it.
Well, let's see what happens, because the you know, I've got an office in the Roundhouse, and these interim committee meeting hearings, LFC, LESC, they're going to resume in June, I believe.
That's
We'll
the LSC's
see.
meeting now.
Right, but as far as you know,
the other committees,
really
right.
you know, robust meetings will be coming in June. So we'll see how things shake out then, because especially the LFC, they're not really, in the experience I've had, they're not really the partisan, you know, left-wing bickering mob. Now there has been some talk in the Roundhouse that the LESC has become overly politicized, but we'll see what happens. But generally, I come down on the side of more open government. I mean, if there was a big controversy
Does
over
that
the
goal get met funneling all this through one person? That goal you just mentioned, does that in fact happen?
I'm sorry?
The more transparency and everything else, does this contribute to transparency?
I don't know. I mean, the proof will be in the pudding. We'll see what happens in June. But in my experience in this past year, when we had this big controversy over the behavioral health issues, I found that the LFC meetings were very, even though they were critical about the governor, they were also very enlightening, because many times some of the people from the Department of Human Services were able to stand toe-to-toe and make very persuasive arguments to their case. To me, that's part of the legislative, that's part of the executive, that's part of the whole rough and tumble that you get at the Roundhouse.
Well, speaking
And
of
the
rough
more-
and tumble,
the more the
speaking
better.
of rough and tumble, we've got legislators now talking about subpoena power and all
Right.
other things to get this done. So it just seems
Right.
to me, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, Diane, that it's within the governor's bailiwick to do this. But doesn't it seem like not a question, we're out of time, but it just sets up the clash, it seems to me. So we'll see what happens in June.
I don't think that's new, though.
That's true, too.